I wanted to do it, but it's a nice loafers, man.
Thank you.
Nice loafers.
Are those
All right,
Gucci
we're good.
loafers?
Yeah. You know, they're like 3 years old.
Oh, really? Damn, you keep them clean.
That's the material. It's like leather. It's like leather. So it's like,
They look new.
I know. They're like unbeatable. I don't know how to explain it.
I was looking at some on like one of those used, like Poshmark. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's like you buy used clothes and shoes and stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
They had some Gucci loafers, some red ones I was gonna get,
Uh-huh.
but
Didn't pull the plug?
Yeah, no, I did, but they were like, as soon as I bought them, someone already bought them. So,
Ah.
yeah, don't you hate that?
Yeah. Can't you bid on? Or like you can do an offer. You can do.
It was like a buy it now type deal.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what happened to those girls that used to run the show?
Erica and Molly.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. They moved on. I
Oh,
guess.
okay. So
Yeah.
they're no longer here.
Yeah, no longer
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah. He kind of replaced Erica a little
Okay.
bit, and then Molly, she's living in San Francisco now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm still cool with her. We still talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can go visit her.
Because you've been here about a year now.
He's been here for like
I've been
3.
here for a cool minute, like almost 4 years.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's been that long.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
How long have you
Holy crap. So
like
I've
been?
Yeah, so I've been following you guys since maybe September of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, September of last year.
Of 2018.
Yes.
Wow, so that's like kind of recent still.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 17.
Okay.
Because Chris and I worked together starting March of last year. So 2017 September.
Mm.
Bought a couple of your products.
Mm.
Liked what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, oh crap, he does coaching?
Yeah.
Started buying his coaching. Then he upped his price. So I was like, screw it, let's just do it anyway. And we just consistently one session a month.
One session a month.
Yep, and all the way. And then I said to him, beginning of this year, was like, how do we go a little bit more intense with this?
Right.
Right? To like kind of fast pace this or fast track it.
Mhm.
And then he said, well, thought would be is for you to come out. And you know, we do like 2 days of just like brain dump and just like fire hose to the face. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I was gonna come when Gary was on, but then I was thinking like that's gonna be a little crazy. So, and it didn't work out for my schedule. So then we were like, all right, let's do the last week of March. And so, man, it was perfect because it's like nice and quiet, and like we were able to get a lot done today. So God only knows what tomorrow's gonna bring us, but it's been I'm a huge fan. Like just a huge fan. I love the community that you guys created for yourselves. I love the content. Obviously, is really really good. I'm watching 2-hour fucking videos.
Yeah.
On, like,
Yikes.
right? Like,
Yeah,
where do you get that attention?
Right.
Where do you get that attention span? Right? You must be doing something really good. So, like, it's just you guys are dialed in, right? I like more of the I was telling him like the business and like mindset stuff that you guys cover. The tactical stuff, I have a team that does it.
Right.
So like they're all in on that stuff. But as far as like growing the business, building the business, you know, developing my skill set, you know, as a strategist, right? That's the shit I really want to dive into.
I see. Okay. That's
Right?
what I was gonna ask. What are you doing here with Chris? Why are you so invested? You know, like, what are you
Yeah.
trying to get
So
out of him?
I'm to the point now where eventually I'm going to turn that corner, and it's going to be all strategy. I think that execution is fun, but it's a little tense. Like it's a lot of work. There's a lot of moving pieces, and it's like I get paid mostly like for the thinking. Like as soon as that's over, everything else gets like commoditized. So it's like shit. So how could I position myself as like, I was telling him like personal branding is my thing. I spent the last 12 years of my life building my brand, like me, and I know how to do it. And so, how do I help people do it for themselves? Because they all want it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants it, but they don't know how to do it.
What does that mean so you build your own personal brand, like what does that look like?
What you see.
Is that?
Like
Just
what you see.
Like your put together self, like
put together self, how you were able to monetize it. So how were you able to leverage your story and journey to be able to actually make money with it?
Okay.
And so, I have a pretty pretty wild story from day one to where I'm at today. To this day I feel like I'm not supposed to be here.
Why do you say that?
So it took my parents 16 years to conceive a child. They couldn't get pregnant.
Wow.
And so that story taught me persistence is key. Like you can't give up, right? And then when I was 2, I almost died. I don't know how, but my mom comes into my room. I'm in the crib. I'm blue unresponsive, and I lost all the salt in my body.
Wow.
Yeah, like lack of nutrients, whatever the case is. I couldn't, like my body wasn't producing it, so it shut down. So they rushed me to the hospital, pumped me full of salt. I come back to life. Like,
wow.
I'm here on borrowed time, right? And so that has led this whole life, really, from that point on of never give up. I'm here on borrowed time. I'm going to make the best of it. And how I'm going to make the best of it is helping other people. And then I literally fell into design. Like it was an accident that I learned design. And I was working at a hospital, and I was in charge of creating events, fundraising events to raise money for families who lost babies to sudden infant death syndrome.
Which is kind of what you sort of similar?
Yeah. Not to get super technical, but
right.
Kind of, right? So it's funny how that came full circle. And then Z100, one of the biggest radio stations like on the planet, I literally cold turkey one of the girls from the morning show and was like, hey, you interested in sponsoring an event? And I just got her at the right time, and she was like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I'll talk to Elvis Duran and see what we can do to help you. She brings us in the studio. We got to promote it on the radio. But I needed all this marketing material designed. And so my buddy was a graphic designer, and he put everything together for me. So I'm sitting next to him, watching him do all this shit. And I'm like, holy, this is graphic design? I didn't even know what it was. So I convinced my boss at the hospital to freaking buy me Photoshop. So I start doing all the in-house invites now, right? When I go home, I'm starting to build up a little book of business outside of doing that. I get 1 client, 2 client. Now I was like a clubber back in the day. So my buddy who helped me learn design was a club promoter. So he didn't want to design the flyers for the clubs anymore. So he like basically told everybody to use me. So now I started doing like every nightclub in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And I just banged out club flyers. Like I was the club flyer guy. And I did that for like 5 years, burnt out because it was a lot of, like I didn't have a team or anything.
Yeah, it's just you.
And then the business almost took a big shit. And then I got it back up to speed again. And it took another big shit. Got it back up to speed, and that's when I met Chris. And like, I have a son, 19 months, and I said I won't do this to him anymore. This roller coaster, like people get divorced over it. People commit suicide over it. This is horrible. You can't live your life like this.
And what caused those dips?
Poor decision making. Super poor decision making. Like I'm an only child, and I only thought of myself. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, so when I started making a lot of money at 23, went straight to my head, and I was throwing it in people's faces. Nobody could tell me nothing. I was like an ego maniac.
Okay.
And you see where I'm going with that? Your ego can destroy things very quickly. Relationships, businesses, and that's what it was doing.
Just off of the flyers, you were making big money like that?
Bro,
Or
the first year I did $248,000, and
Wow.
like most of it was cash, because they would pay you out at the end of the night.
Right.
Right? And it took a minute to realize, because I'm head down banging out flyers, taking the money, throwing it in the safe. At the end of the year, I finally counted it all, and that's what was left. And I was like, okay, we need to legitimize this, like, otherwise I'm gonna go to jail, like tax evasion and all that. Like, it started to get scary.
Yeah.
So that's when I formed the business. But yeah, it was crazy, and I wasn't even that good of a designer. I was just killing
I
all.
wouldn't brag about that.
I was just killing them on speed.
Can I sit here?
Mr. Doe, come on in.
Hey.
So I just gave him a really super quick backstory on why the hell I'm here, how I got here.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Here we are, hanging, having a casual conversation on a Monday.
Yeah.
When the light is still up. Yeah, and I brought my notebook with me today. So Henry, what's hot in your mind right now? Like, we're decompressing from today.
Whew.
Today was pretty intense.
Yes.
Lots of things to do, more things for us to do tomorrow, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure after a good night's sleep tonight, you'll come back with even crazier questions and ideas. And I know how your brain works. So I have to brace for impact for tomorrow, right? So
Dude.
anything that Henry bring up that you guys are like, ooh, what's going on here?
That he's here on borrowed time. I thought that's a really good way to
Like a
look at
health
life.
thing? Like,
Well, yeah,
I'm going to die,
Chris,
I'm going to expire?
Yeah, it took my parents 16 years to conceive a child,
Yeah.
and then they finally make it happen. And then 2 years in, I almost died, just suddenly and unexpectedly.
Right.
So that story has pushed me my entire life.
Yeah. That's how you came into the world.
Yeah.
Borrowed time.
That's what I feel.
Right. That's why you act so fast. Yeah. There's this common thread between all the people that I coach or coach remotely, meaning I don't even know, and they have success. And the common theme between all of them is they have a bias towards taking action.
Yes.
Ben Burns told him to fire his clients. Next day he made 53 phone calls. Fired his clients. There's you. I tell you things, and the next day you're texting me, this worked. I'm like, worked? I have to be careful what I say around you because you're going to move so fast.
Yeah.
A guy like Frankie, who is still in school, I just had a chat with him on Sunday. He said, Chris, I'm charging $5,000 to do discovery instantly. And he's still in school. Still hasn't even gotten his degree yet.
Wow.
How is this possible? The young man I met in Switzerland, in Geneva, he was like, I was broke, owed $3,000, had to borrow money to pay it off. And within 1 year's time, following the things that you tell us to do, I now have $200,000 in my account. So, action is it. So one of the things that we talked about, I think last time, was how I can help maybe one of you, or both of you, or all of you, to have $100,000 income. Not on top of what you're getting paid, but in addition to in terms of the net difference, how I can coach you guys to do that. Maybe that's something that we need to explore. Just to prove to people, you don't have to have some kind of genius gene. You don't have to be born into a certain life and lifestyle. You don't even have to have a certain background that you can achieve. So we'll figure that out in upcoming episodes. I need to just take a moment to read some messages because I've been talking to you all day. Right? Let's see what's going on. Oh, Shima just dropped me a text message saying she just emailed me a deck, so we're going to have Shima come on the show. We confirm that audio is working okay and
Yeah.
color balance is all right. We good?
All right.
We're good? Real good?
Look at this. Got all this.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Look at
mics.
Look at this.
Is it
Look at
overlapping?
this.
Is any of it overlapping?
No, I don't know why you guys say that. That's
No.
the more mics, the better.
No,
I
that
don't know
cannot
about that
possibly
logic.
true. Yeah. Do we want to angle these slightly away from each other? All right. Ricky comes in and he's like, we sound really good. Okay.
Let's start touching.
All right.
Oh, I thought we were streaming the whole time.
We were.
Oh, we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. It doesn't matter. One of the things that I'm telling these guys to do is to upgrade their wardrobe game. A
Let's
little
upgrade
bit.
it.
There's some comments.
This
Little
guy's got a pretty
comments.
nice wardrobe.
He's got next level wardrobe game. Aaron's like eyeballing all his like little parts and pieces. I believe they are. Yes. So I'm telling all the three of you guys to go out and get a crisp, clean, white shirt. This is the first piece to your wardrobe that you're going to need. Everybody needs at least one crisp, clean Oxford button-down shirt, long sleeve. And I want you to buy it for less than $50. If you spend more than $50, you've violated my rule. Don't go on a Henry Kaminsky Jr. budget. $50 you're gonna get it. Yeah. Don't. You can't afford it. Just if
I
you have
put
to
my
ask.
foot down. I don't think I can touch the floor.
So under $50, you go out and you buy yourself a clean white shirt. I think we need to shoot that and document it so the next time you guys come, nothing changes about you. No hair change, no product change. You just wear a white shirt and you see how you look and how people perceive you.
So the exact same pants and shoes.
Every
we all
single
got.
thing.
The
Every single
white-
thing.
the
All
white
you need to
shirt.
do is switch to the white shirt. The key is finding a good fit. So the shoulder length, arm length, the collar, the neck size has to be right for you. So it has to be comfortable that you can button all the way to the top without feeling like you're choking. And it's going to be difficult because you guys all have very different builds.
All the way to the top, huh? It's
Yeah,
pretty-
all the way to the top, man.
bad look.
That's how you know it's called button up for a reason. Okay? Not to say that you'll be wearing it all the way like that,
Oh,
but when you wear a tie, you need to button it up. So we're going to take you guys one step at a time. And let's see what the internet says about the way you look and the way you present yourself, right? Yeah.
Well, he was asking me about what is personal branding.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting question, and I said it's your ability to take your personality,
Yeah.
right, and be able to monetize that in a way that's unique to you.
Okay.
And I think we all have the ability to do it. It's just, I think people just continue to question. They continue to put roadblocks up. Like, but how? But what? But. Just do it. Shut up and do it.
But how?
So we all have superpowers. I'm a firm believer in I mean, he put me through an exercise today that blew my mind on how to pull that I thought I knew how to pull that out of people. This is like a super systematic way to do it, and I thought that it was amazing. So that's the answer to the first how. And then the second is, I mean, the answers are all right in front of us, and the technology is here. I mean, anybody could put it together if they have the information. I don't think we're looking for the right things.
What kind of things do you think we should be looking for?
Okay, good question. So how do you take them from, and we kind of talked about this on that ClickFunnels live stream that we did. How do you take someone's attention and bring it through a funnel that gets them to actually buy something worth buying? So perhaps a technology or software that helps you sell online super easy, right? So again, I'm partial to ClickFunnels, but there's other softwares out there that you could throw up a landing page and a cart and sell something that people want. Now, a lot of people don't know what people want, so we have to discover what people are ready, willing, and able to buy in order to sell that.
Let me ask a question here. So you started with personal branding,
Yep.
and now you moved to like making money online, selling things through a website.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm selling myself through my website.
Yeah, that's the part I'm like. So like you make a personal brand, which I'm still a little hazy on exactly what
Right.
that
We should
looks
spend
like.
a little bit more time
Let's do it.
talking about that.
Yeah, let's
Because
do it.
I think
Okay.
we moved through that too quick.
I have a definition that I found to be really, really pretty on point. Your personal brand is the crossroad between what you perceive yourself and how others perceive you.
Okay.
So,
Let me jump in there.
Okay.
You know what branding is? Maybe we need to start here's a way you break down everything in life, right? You take complicated things and you just chop them down until you can understand. So the word personal we understand, the word branding we may understand. So let's talk about that. Then when we combine those two words together, then we just need to know what that combination of words mean. Okay, so branding. What is branding? I like Marty Neumeier's definition of branding. It's a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or company. So it's a feeling. It's a gut feeling, right? So it's the totality of who you present yourself to be in the world, and everything from the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, your visual appearance. So surface level things and much deeper things. Then they walk away with an impression of who you are. So you can't control how I feel, but you can definitely influence it. Let's talk about this.
Personal branding is the impression other people have of you?
Yeah. Okay, so instead of talking about giant corporations, we're going to talk about you. Now, all of us have a brand. Believe it or not, we have an unintentional brand. That means that, I'll give you some examples. Let's say one of you, let's just say Aaron, you show up every single day at 10 o'clock sharp, every single day, and you're ready, and you're prompt, and you're productive, and you're super efficient. You send out the signal to people that Aaron's reliable, he's punctual, he's prompt. I'm talking about an imaginary Aaron right now, but I'm just saying
But that's brand.
that's him, right? And that every time we give Aaron a task, he not only takes it, he does it with a degree of alacrity, and he always hits a home run, and he asks for more. So we started to think, this guy's really proactive. This person's a real go-getter. That starts to become part of your brand. And he adds a level of creativity. Let's say Jonah is, he takes the edit, and he always likes to mix in influences from country music or hip hop, and he becomes known as the guy who's able to do that. So every time we have something like that, we throw it in, and Jonah's becomes that person. Each person here brings something like that, and these are signals that you're sending out into the real world. Now, when you're doing it within an office or even with your family, then the importance of that is debatable, because your family's going to love you. The office, if you do your job and you excel, you're going to stay employed, no problem. Now, if you want to grow beyond that, this is where Henry, what he's saying is really important for you to understand, is if you're on social media now, all three of you guys are trying to grow your social media following, and you start to build an awareness around who you are and what you like to do, hopefully in some point, because you want to exchange that for work opportunities, for sponsorships, to get free gear, to do something else with that. Now you need to be more mindful of how you're cultivating that and what kind of message you're sending out. We recently did a workshop with Bonnie Sang. What's her personal brand? Because she very much is an influencer and a personal brand person, right? So she was at some point in her life a single mom raising a child. She has 2 daughters. She's now married. She's a self-taught photographer, and she lives kind of a highly curated life. She has good taste, and she's been able to meet Michelle Obama. So we can make all these kinds of assumptions about who she is and who she's for, but she goes beyond that by telling you who she is and who she's for. So she's for female entrepreneurship and empowerment through creativity. Very clear to me who she is and who she's for. And her stories, the images that she shows her daughter in her work, and she shows herself in powerful moments and really weak and vulnerable moments. Sometimes she says, I need space, and it's too much for me. Even in her presentation at Art Center, she's like, I'm lazy.
I was going to ask you about that. How does that play into the personal brand?
It all plays into it, because not only does she want you to think it, she's telling you this is who I am. Not lazy in that she's a lazy human being, but she likes to do not a lot of effort to get a lot of results. And that's kind of admirable, how vulnerable she is, and how she says she has bad days, she has good days, she has ups and she has downs. And it's all being done in a very conscientious, deliberate way, because she's in control of her brand. So when you post an image, Aaron, of you doing something silly or doing something serious, you send 2 signals out into the world. Sometimes I'm silly and sometimes I'm serious. And if that's intentional, then that's the brand that you're building. Does that make sense? So it's what other people think of you, And what they think of you is based largely on how you put yourself out into the real world. So when you wear certain clothes, it says something about you. I'll give you a really good example here. In the early days when I was speaking with Jose at one of these merge conferences, and I think it was for all women, I went to it. I wore my typical hat, suit, jacket, and tie, and sneakers. And I remember Nicole Johnson? And she came up to me afterwards, like days, weeks later, not at the event itself. She's like, Chris, I think you have cool style. You're so hip hop. And I was like, I didn't even define myself as a hip hop person, but the hat and the sneakers sent a signal to her subliminally that that's who I aligned myself with. For me, it was purely an aesthetic and functional thing. I wasn't really thinking about this is a hip hop style. So that's an unintentional kind of message I'm transmitting to the world. So what's really interesting is when we had Vaynerchuk on the show, he talked about, I was doing entrepreneurship and I was just lucky that entrepreneurship is cool. Well, what do entrepreneurs need? What do all these people who don't want to work for a large corporation need? They need a personal brand. They need to figure out who they're going to be in the world, whether they're launching a product or service, or they just want to be an influencer. So this is hot.
The personal branding, I think, is also what you allow people to grab a hold of. That's part of you that gets that connection going.
It's like an example.
I'll give you, so I had a client who was mortified to get in front of the camera. She is a master NLP practitioner. Do you know neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
I've heard of it. Let's pretend we don't.
I do. Let's pretend I do.
But for a friend.
I couldn't even start.
I can tell you what it is.
Okay.
Do you know what it is? I'll tell you right now.
Just real quick though.
Really
right?
quick, because you already know.
Yeah,
for our audience.
Chris,
Just for our audience. NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro has to do with your brain and how you think.
Right.
Linguistic is the language, and programming is the combination of these two things. So when you have an experience in your life, you describe it with words. And the words you choose tell you how you feel about that thing.
Right.
Okay? Some kid comes over, takes your candy, you describe that as, I'm a victim. Those are bullies. And then candy and people of a certain size and shape have a certain memory for you.
That's right.
So if you want to change your behavior, if you want to heal, if you want to be empowered in that situation, a psychotherapist who's an NLP expert might start to help you choose different language to change the experience in your mind. Now, you guys have hung around me long enough that nothing has meaning except for the meaning that you give it.
Right.
The lens in which we look at the world determine how we feel, because there's individual reality and then there's objective reality, right? So most of what we think is objective reality. That was unfair. I got punched. Somebody stole. The world is evil. Those are all actually just individual reality, right? So this is how you code things. So go back to NLP.
So the point was, she wasn't putting herself out there for anybody to grip. So genius with this stuff. She wouldn't put herself in front of the camera because she was mortified. It gave her social media following had nothing to grab onto. So she's just another Instagram post.
Dirt.
Right? But if you go to my channel on Instagram, there's
What's your Instagram, by the way? So
the brand the brand DR.
The brand doctor.
Yeah, the brand DR. And you go, and it's loaded with personality. That personality, you're either going to love it or hate it. If you love it, that's something you can grab onto.
Gotcha. Okay, that's a good way of explaining it.
Here's another good way. Yvette Roman was on a show. She didn't get a gig from Canon. Kind of a hot topic, right? Because she didn't have the Instagram following. But we looked at her Instagram following, and a lot of people were being super hypercritical about her. It's like, it just looks like a bunch of photographs of weddings. And if we're being told objective, it kind of does. And we looked at it and we're like, where's Yvette in this story? This is just another person who takes pictures of weddings. Now, they're beautiful and they're nicely done, but the world is full of these images, so why would we care? The minute she started to tell her story, she doubled her followers in a week. So what does that tell you? Like, as soon as you make it personal, see, so it's like, I'm a photographer, and the photos are a reflection of my worldview, my experiences, my beliefs, and opinions. But if all I show are my images, then I become a product of the things I make and not what I believe in. If you go to Henry's Instagram account, you'll see inspirational quotes. You'll see him pontificating on different ideas. You'll see him sharing and being super passionate. He's got the Pitbull Mr. International vibe going, right?
The best thing.
Somebody do some lines from that.
Dale.
Miami, Aruba. No, I'm just. Yeah, it's just he rattles off Tokyo, Japan. How you doing? You know, that's who Henry is. So he has that energy. He's got that jersey thing. He's got the full sleeves going. He's got the shaved head, the gold watch, the Gucci shoes or whatever. You know, that's what he's rocking.
You know, it's funny. When I was at
Gucci gang.
I was at a conference. I was at a conference a couple years back.
Yeah.
And this guy walks up to me and he says, "I just got to tell you, you know, I've been following you for a while online, and I thought you were the biggest a-hole on social media. And then I met you in person, and
you're nothing but.
You're no. Set myself up for that one. And he was like, you were the complete opposite of what I thought. And it was funny because I was like, you know, I get that a lot. Like,
I never get that.
Super sleeved up dude.
Yeah.
You know, looks like into stuff. Like he's probably pretentious. Like all these things come to mind. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. And then when people meet me, I'm like this teddy bear type of dude. And they're like, yeah, that's exactly it. But it was funny. Right away, I was like, there was this guy sitting next to me. And he wasn't really in the conversation. And as I was trying to like say, yeah, you know, I get that a lot, blah, blah, blah. He was like, don't feel, what did he say? I forget what he said. He said something along the lines of like, you don't have to explain yourself to him. He was like, if he thought you were a jerk, that was his problem, not yours. And the guy backed off and he was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it was my problem. He got all nervous. This was a really big guy too that said it. And I'll never forget that, because when people would come at me like that, I would always like go into like defense mode and be like, blah, blah. And then I realized that taught me a lesson right there. It was like, a lot of people are gonna think of you a certain way, and it may not be good, right? But that's not your problem. Don't make it your problem.
I was gonna ask you, if people were to come up to me and be like, you give off that vibe that I don't like, would you try to change your vibe? So if like multiple people are coming up to you, you're like, oh, maybe I should change my shoes then. If people are like,
that's a good question.
Everyone thinks I'm an asshole. Maybe I should do something about it. Like,
but like, is
that
that on you to change yourself, or do you just maybe that's your opinion?
Because it sounds like you're responsible.
This is right. This is good.
Yeah.
That's a hot grenade thrown up in there. Who wants to jump on it first? So Ricky is saying.
Oh, you okay?
Ricky's saying, if a lot of people are saying, I don't like your vibe.
Yep.
How would you respond?
So
personally.
Yeah, that's great. I think I would first look at who's coming, where's the source. Consider the source of where that. So I hold a lot of value to what my wife thinks. So if my wife were to come to me and say that, I would say, okay, where could I improve? Well, maybe you could do this, maybe you could do that, maybe you could do this. Then I would take action. But if it was some clown off the internet, where if I went to his page or her page and, you know, you could just tell that there's like no substance there at all, then I wouldn't change. But if multiple people that I cared about, and that, like if Chris said something to me like that, like, maybe you should shift your approach. And he actually did in one of our coaching calls. He said, the tone that you are using right now on your social media is a tone of like you're on the ivory tower, pointing down, going, you suck, I know it all, listen to me, buy from me. And that was not the approach that I wanted to be seen as. And so he helped me refine that tone, and it made such a big difference. Now, if I say something that I'm like super hot about, I'll say, listen, I get it. I was there. I've done that before. I made that mistake. It sucks. Here's how I fixed it.
What do you mean super hot about it?
If something's really grinding my gears.
Ben, you want to get in? What are you doing? Just checking?
Yeah, dude, come on
cool.
in, man.
Whatever. Keep going. Keep going, Harry.
We doing lunch tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be in? All right, we'll do lunch.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you,
Yeah,
man. Night.
So yeah, what makes you?
All right, so I hate the get rich quick people. I hate the get rich quick people. They drive me up the wall.
Why?
Because they don't want to put in the work.
Okay.
They just want to get rich quick. And we all know that if you really want to create like a legacy or a brand or a business that's sustainable, you got to put in the work, right? And I'll attack online about that stuff. But then I'll say, listen, I went through that myself. I found the software online that I thought was going to make me a millionaire overnight. I got somebody gave me the Kool-Aid and I drank it. And then I became that person that wanted to get rich quick. And then I started to attract all of these people in my life that I couldn't handle. They drove me nuts. And then I looked in the mirror and I said, there's no surprise why these people are coming into your life. You're putting out that vibe. So I was like, rewind, hit pause. What do I need to change here? And so I started working on myself. I was telling Chris, I dove deep into personal development. I became a better Henry. And that changed the way I did business, my relationships, everything. And it leveled everything up. Everything up.
So I have an opinion on this too. And thank you, Henry, for giving me enough time to think through what I wanted to say. I think there's two parts to this. So if people come to you and like, I don't like the vibe you're putting out, there's one of two responses I'm going to tell you, depending on what is happening internally. And it's impossible for me to know that, and only for you to know that. Here's answer number one. I'm unsure about who I am, so I look at people I admire, and I try to be like them. And the first thing is, I change my appearance to appear like them. I adopt their vocabulary. Mm-hmm. This isn't me. I'm trying to be like that. Mm-hmm. And this is where people come to you like, yo, you're throwing off the weird vibe. It's like the classic rom-com. The poor guy, the poor girl tries to hang with the rich people, and they start to change, and they're true friends. The ones who fell in love with them in the first place, they're like, I don't like who you become because you're trying to hang out with the jocks, and now you're mean to the nerds, and the nerds are your friends. We've always been.
You get one makeover, and then you start hanging out.
You know, yeah, you and something happens, right? And then it's what we see from the outside is it's fake. It's not you. So when somebody says, "Hey, you're that person," and you need to do a quick look in the mirror, as Henry was talking about, and you need to just say, like, who am I? Have I lost myself in the pursuit of something else? Option number two, you know who you are. You dress for you.
Right.
And you look like who you want to be. And somebody comes over and is like, I don't like the vibe you're throwing out. Well, now my response is entirely different. My response is, your opinion is none of my business. Pretty much.
Right.
So this is when I become comfortable in my own skin, and the aesthetic choices that I make are for me and not for you. Right. You say, if you don't like me, c'est la vie.
Right.
That's okay. I'm not angry about it. I'm not going to change for you, and that's totally okay. There's a big difference. And we're talking about two very potentially superficial things, the way that we look. Mm-hmm. Communication, totally different story. Mm-hmm. But I'm just talking about the way you look.
So it sounds like, though, both of them is just making sure you're okay with yourself. Because the first one, you're not okay with yourself, and you need to get right with yourself. The second one is just be okay with yourself, and it doesn't matter what anybody says.
Right. I think all of us search for a period of time to belong.
Sure.
And it's when we get comfortable with ourselves that we truly belong. That when you no longer need a tribe to feel complete, then you're good. Brene Brown's book talks about this, like talking to Maya Angelou, and she was talking about the story about, she recites this poem about standing, like being a tree in the middle of the river and not moving and not caring. And it took her years to understand and unpack that meaning. It's just to be okay in your vulnerabilities, and it's awesome. So if you guys don't know, check out that TED Talk by Brene Brown. She's given several, and it's full of vulnerable stories about her quest to discover certain things as a story researcher, a research storyteller.
There's a quote by Miles Davis, and it says, "Sometimes it takes you a while to sound like yourself." I like that.
It took me a while to sound like myself.
Yeah.
So when we stop trying to impress other people, when we stop trying to belong on a superficial level to other tribes and other groups, because all we want is acceptance, when the only acceptance you need is self-acceptance, then you're good to go. That's why I don't really care. So people come up to me, I hate you, I love you. It's like, man, I know who I am. And
Right, because people will come up to you and be like, "Chris, I love you," or Chris, like, "Oh, Chris is really cocky."
Yeah.
The way he talks, and it doesn't rolls off your shoulders both ways.
both ways. You ever see me around people?
Yes.
What do you see?
You're pretty much comfortable in your
Great
own
guy.
Great boss.
Best guy ever.
Great guy.
No, just like I've been this way for a really long time. When I do work and it was presented in class, I aspire to be the best, so I put in a lot of time, energy, and effort. I think helped with some talent, and people were like, "Oh, that's amazing." I'm like, "Thank you." "Oh, that was terrible." "Okay, thank you." Didn't really. Just this is it. I'm living in my own universe now because I know that I'm the best judge of my own work at this point, and I'm gonna do what's right. I know when it sucks, so when you tell me it sucks, you're only affirming what I already know. I'll do better next time. And when it's good, and you say it's good, I don't feel like that built me up like I'm this amazing design beast. I worked really hard on it, and I objectively looked at it and tried to make it as best as possible. I'm totally okay with that. So I'm not going to respond to that too much. So my whole thing was try to be even-keeled, And I started to do this thing, and it sounds really weird. I modeled myself and my emotional state after Spock, of all people, which my therapist said, "I feel sorry for you," that kind of thing.
Somebody that hasn't watched Star Trek, if you want to give me the
Yeah, he's a Vulcan. So
Okay.
Vulcans are related to humans in a way,
Okay.
and they've learned over millennia to strip away emotion because emotion clouds judgment.
Okay.
So they're purely logical creatures, right? They're logical humans, basically. And they have superior intellect, they have superior strength. They have everything that a human should aspire to be, and they stripped out the emotions. So I said to myself, after feeling really hurt over relationships that didn't work out, it's like, if having emotions means I can have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, I'd rather clip off the high and clip off the low. Like you're sending it through a sound limiter, and I'm gonna take the peaks and I'm gonna take the bass and cut it out.
Because I feel like that's what emotion does. It gives you high highs and low lows. So you're trying to get rid of that, so you're
Just trying to compress it.
Yeah.
So for some people, when you compress sound too much, it sounds a little funky. And maybe that's the way it is. Because I don't want to be ruled by emotion. I want to do what's right.
Well,
I want to get the job done.
I want to add to that because I was one of those guys where I would sway really easy. Like if somebody said something really bad about me,
That's me right now.
I would get in a funk.
You get wrecked.
For like 4 months, right? And then if somebody said something good, it wouldn't last as long, honestly. I use this, I don't know where I got this from, but it's stuck. Just because somebody says you suck doesn't mean you suck. The day you suck is when you tell yourself you suck. So how you speak to yourself, and we went through this when I was going through some really tough times. That's when Chris and I really started talking on a regular basis. He said, you got to find that internal happiness inside, like that external validation that you have been running your life on for all this time. It doesn't work. Look at where you are right now. If it worked, you wouldn't be here. And I'm like, holy crap. And then I started to really think like, yeah, the day you tell yourself you suck is when you suck. And that's tougher for me to get over now than somebody else telling me, and just because one person says it doesn't mean it's true.
That started a five-alarm fire.
Put this guy up. Too much heat.
Too much heat. Cool down, Andrew. Cool down. Too much emotional energy right there.
That's funny. That's good.
I think there's like African proverbs that talk about this, something I'm going to butcher, but if there's no enemy within, then no enemy without can do harm to you. And the worst, and it's like if we look at everything in our life that is an assault on us, then we need to realize the number one enemy we have is the enemy within.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you don't believe something to be true, when somebody says it, how could it hurt you? Okay, so if somebody said to you, Ricky, you're the world's best basketball player, would that help you?
No.
You're the world's best baseball player. Go pitcher.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, let's
I
just
feel
be
like
honest.
The problem is it works on you no matter what. Like if someone you really care about says to you, "Oh my God, you look so good today," you're gonna be like, "Oh man."
Wait, hold on.
I feel good.
Yes. That's how we can all relate to this really quickly. Let me just show you something about how you can not care about what people say. Okay? Aaron, you're like 2 foot tall. I presume you respect my opinion. And if I say you're 2 foot tall or 2 feet tall, what are you gonna say? What do you think internally?
Well, it's not true.
It's not true. You see what I'm saying? Aaron,
that's
you're from the...
not true.
Well,
You're
saying you're good looking, is that fact?
It's kind of an opinion.
Well, you're right, because only if you believe it to be true would you consider fact or an opinion. Look, if I say you're from Mars, what would you say? Not true.
Right.
What if I said you're blonde? Not true. Now, if I say you're handsome, or if I say you're ugly, only the things that you believe to be true you would let inside your house. That's what I'm saying.
What if you don't know?
Well, then you know. Okay? Meaning, you doubt. And doubt is some part of that you allow to inhabit your mind. So when you don't know, you actually know. That's why when somebody's like, you're like a terrorizing this, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. That's why it doesn't impact me. It doesn't hurt me at all. It doesn't hurt me at all. Okay? And how tall are you again?
6 feet.
Okay, somebody's like, I come up to you, Aaron, you're 6 feet. Does that make you happy? You're indifferent about it because you already know it to be true.
But if someone is like, "Oh, you're so tall," you're like, "Oh, thanks."
Really?
And it feels you get a little boost. It's like you can't help it.
Well, they're not saying I'm 6 foot tall, that's for sure.
Yeah, but like, stay in the argument, the logic here for a little bit. If I say something you already know is true, 6 feet, it does nothing for you, right?
Right.
It's only when I attribute a judgment or value on top
So
of that.
it's like belief.
Like 6 feet is cool. Or Shaquille says you're 6 feet. It's not cool now because he's super tall.
Oh, right.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? It's like you're allowing your emotional wellness to exist in and be in control of somebody else's hands. That doesn't even make sense to me.
I just feel like you can't choose to let that work on your not. Like if you're feeling down and I put my arm around you and say, "Oh, it's cool, man," you're gonna feel better.
That's a little different too. I'm talking about just people giving their opinion about your appearance.
I feel like it's the same thing.
You're moving really fast.
I feel like it's the same
We're
thing.
slipping into the graduated grayscale here.
Like if someone you don't know in
Yeah.
Tender Greens says to you, "Chris, that's a really cool hat."
Thank you.
Don't you feel even a little bit good?
Thank you.
Better than you did a second before?
No, because I always feel good.
I don't know if I believe that.
Well, that's your reality. I don't impose my reality on you. I'm just saying I'm fine. That's an ugly hat. Thank you. It's fine.
I get the point of what you're saying.
I mean, okay. Let's say, and this happens sometimes, I put on clothes and I'm like, I'm not sure this and this
I'm
go
not sure
together.
this is working. Yeah?
Right?
There we go.
I'm not sure. Right? Okay. And I come into the office, you're like, dude, I'm not sure that's working. I'm like, fudge, maybe it's not working.
Yeah.
You see, only the things I believe to be true or unsure about, which then must be true, are going to affect me. Somebody says you're lazy, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're smart, you're a genius. You already know what's true. There's the things that you're not sure about, and that's where people go in and pry it out of you. So much of ourselves is our journey in life is to discover who we are.
Yeah.
And once you discover who you are, you're going to be okay. Let's take it to the extreme. The Dalai Lama. You think you can say things to him that's going to like wreck him? Dalai Lama, you're so wise. Thank
Not
you.
happening.
You know, you're stupid, Dalai Lama. Thank you. You know, you see what I'm saying? And you can see that in an enlightened person. You just don't accept it coming from me. You're like, shut up, dude. You're not the Dalai Lama. You haven't spent that
So
time.
how does one build that belief?
Make a list.
Okay.
Take a piece of paper, fold it in half. Every conversation we have on this channel is going to be take a piece of paper and fold it in half. The first half, you write everything that you think you're good at.
Yeah.
Genuinely you believe you're good at.
Okay.
On the other half, you write everything you're bad at.
Okay.
And you accept that.
Okay.
And you're done.
Well, that's easy.
I mean, people don't do that though. You see,
No.
like when you and I did our superpower thing, I asked you, "What are you good at? What makes you happy?" And you got stuck in some areas because we don't spend enough time thinking about the things we think about. Right? Now, I remember I was at Art Center. I think I was 7th term. I was sitting with this older European student who was telling me, "Chris, you know, most people think about what they say." I'm like, "Yeah, they do. I think about what I think about." And I was like 20-some years old. I'm like, fudge, that's deep. Most people think about what they say. Yeah, I think about what I say. I think about what I think about. So his name is Jan, from Sweden. He was doing an internal audit to see how he feels and thinks about things. So he was already achieving a level of mindfulness. I was like, that's good. So we don't sit around and actually do an audit when we write down what we're good at and what we're not good at.
Okay.
Literally, like do that. See what happens. So when somebody says something to me that I'm good at, I already know that. You've already confirmed that. I don't feel any like if my emotional state was at 85% happiness, it might move me 1 or 2 points this or that direction, but it's not really impacting me. It's not swaying me to the highs and the lows. And if I already know I'm not good at it, like somebody's like, "You're short." Okay, I'm 5'8". What do you want from me? Right? "You're Asian." Thank you. I got it. Right? And I just move on. Because I already know these are things that are not good and things that are good. And true confidence is not to pretend like all of you is good. True confidence is recognizing what you're good at and what you're not good at and accepting both. What makes you great and your flaws and being okay with that. And that's a big difference. So you guys are relatively young, especially on the perimeter. You guys are relatively young. You're still figuring out who you are. But if you wanted to, try this exercise and see what it does for you. I'll see what YouTube is saying about my comment now.
Figure it out.
There it goes. The comments are going crazy now. Let's see. All right. Okay, so that's how to answer your question. When people come up to you and say certain things about you, do you believe it to be true? Are you trying to be somebody? And you know when you're faking it. You can't lie to yourself. Right? You know.
Does this serve me? Does it not serve me? And just move on. Like,
that's another way to look at it.
That just
does it help me
or hinder me?
That's it. A/B. Binary.
And going back, I mean, I think how we see ourselves has a big role, plays a big role on how we start to mold our personal brand. Like, because people buy you before they buy, and I this is my belief, but I think people buy you before they buy your product or service.
Always.
So I just seeing you on the channel, Aaron. Like, I don't know these guys that well, but like I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Aaron. Because I got to know you a little bit, and I just like your personality. I like how you put yourself out there. I like your personal brand. If you had some course on how to edit video, I'm probably gonna buy from Aaron.
Wow.
Look at Aaron's facial change, sucker! Look at that. Buttering the guy up.
And you may not even be these two may be better editors than you, but I don't know them that well. So I'm going with Aaron.
I see. Wow.
Because he knows you. Because why? Because people hire who they know, like, and trust. They don't know you, they're going with you. It's guaranteed.
So why wouldn't somebody invest in their personal brand?
Wow, that's a lot to digest
What
right there.
can I do to invest in my personal brand? Like, what is?
So appearance is one.
So figure out who you want to emulate, kind of thing, and who you want to
I think-
attract, kind of a thing.
No, what do you feel comfortable with? Like, what look do you feel comfortable with?
Right.
And go all in on that.
But like, if I don't care about my look, then I'm
Mhm.
gonna get people that don't care about their look. Maybe I don't want that.
Interesting.
I want to, certain things I don't care to do, but I want to attract a different person for like something.
Like, where's that line between attracting who I want as a client and being true to myself?
Where you draw, right, Chris? Like that line between being true to myself and the client that I want to attract. Where's that line?
Like, how do you balance those two things?
Like Aaron wants to go into board meetings.
Okay, this is a perfect question. Who do you aspire to be? Because we all seek growth. We all want to grow. The reason why you guys work out is because you want to physically grow and change your body. So over time, your hairstyles have changed. Your taste in music, in art, and film, and in people, it changes. We desire growth. So you kind of just say to yourself, where would I like to be? Who do I want to associate myself with? And I see that I'm growing in that direction, not as an artificial way, but truly, right? If you see yourself as a musician, composer, poet, that's your tribe, that's your people. And you want to surround yourself with people who are optimistic, who share similar beliefs and values, or sometimes you want them to be opposite to kind of push you, to test you. And that's okay too. So we're going to seek out people who are like us, who would like to be more like, So that's going to work that way. So that's easy. You notice this. Some of your language changes, right, around me. Like you might say
Fudge.
You might say J-hole, right? Shiznit. Somebody said I dropped an F-bomb. I was like, I don't swear, guys.
I think the
Like,
first
are you
time I
kidding
ever
me?
heard you drop an F-bomb was today at lunch.
I didn't drop an F-bomb. When did I drop an F-bomb?
I don't even think you. I put my chopsticks down. I was like, oh my God, I got
No,
him.
I don't swear. I think you miss here. Really, I don't.
It's alleged at this point.
It's alleged.
It's no evidence.
No, I mean, play the tape back. You'll see.
Is that part of your personal brand, the no cursing?
Yes.
Yeah, everything that you
Absolutely.
do, say, and think is part of your brand.
I was gonna say it has to be because it's like an effort. to not
But think
say
about it. Actually, for some, it's not much of an effort at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
You just don't enter that into your vocabulary and you're fine. So look at this. A person like myself, and I'll let you guys, I want to play a little funny game with you in a second. I don't swear, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. If you said that to a culture in 2019, what does somebody assume about a person like that?
That guy's not cool.
Not cool. What else? No, seriously. Not cool. What else?
But old,
Old.
right?
Old fashioned.
Old-fashioned, boring,
Probably super
square,
strict, yeah.
super strict,
Right.
But
judging.
Not chill.
You
Not
combat-
chill.
I would say you do the opposite with like your exterior appearance. You have gauges.
Well, hold on though. Just
tabs,
stay with me though.
Okay.
You see, like how everything you do sends a signal to somebody, and most of the things you said was not good. However, to a person who believes what I believe, integrity, intelligent, and then you go on and on down that list. So it depends on who you talk to, right? So if you're part of the Amish community, I'm with you. Yeah, we're good. We're good. If you're straight edge, I'm good. I'm good with you, and we believe what we believe, right? So that's fine.
Yeah.
So then you go down and you start to address each and every single layer, because look, as human beings, we're pretty complicated. We're complex creatures with a rich tapestry of ideas and emotions and influences and stories, right? So one aspect of me is not going to reveal everything. So when we talk about personal branding, we might say, okay, here are your beliefs and your values, here's what you look like, here's your actions and your hobbies and interests, and they say something about you. And you can say, like, here's what you believe in, and here's who you are a champion for, and you start to bring that, and it starts to paint a much clearer picture. And then you start to filter that through some kind of communication vessel, either through language or imagery, and then it starts to shape how people see you. And you can say, I have many contradictions, and that's okay, because that's part of my complicated fabric of who I am. Now let's play this game. Here's the game. We're going to go around the room. Henry, you get to play the most because you hardly know any of these people. So let's take a look at Jonah.
Okay.
Jonah's guy to your right.
Okay.
Jonah's wearing the heather gray sweatshirt with the khaki colored Gap looking pants. And he's wearing some white Nikes with the red
Brand new.
swoosh. Luckily for today. He just looked out the new. Okay. So looking at him, what kind of assumptions can you make about who he is, what his beliefs are? And you guys that are watching this live stream, you guys can do that.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
J. Jonah Jameson over there. What can you say? And feel free to say whatever you want. He just put on his headphones so he can't hear you.
Well, no,
Yeah.
you know what's funny? Because what did I say in the morning? I said something
Yeah.
about Jonah. I said, he seems like the salt of the earth. He seems like he's super genuine. He seems like a really good kid.
That's not really what you said before, but that's the complete opposite. Now that you're on record on camera, the story changes quite a bit.
So I saw right through. Don't take this the wrong way, Jonah. I saw right through the sweatshirt and the pants, and the old Nikes. I saw his face and I was like, he seems like a super genuine dude. And
Boy, did you miss that one.
And I noticed that there's a common denominator with everybody that belongs to the Future team.
Tell me what that common denominator is.
That genuity,
Who?
the genuineness.
Genuity.
Yeah,
The genuine quality.
The genuine quality.
Break that down into more words. What does that mean?
So,
What's the common thread?
like they all have their own personal style. Like everyone's super friendly. Everyone's approachable.
Friendly, approachable.
They're stylish. I see a sense of style. I see a sense of skill set. I feel like everyone levels up when they come to the Future. Like they get better at a particular skill set, right? That's what's coming to me right now.
Interesting. Everybody hold your thoughts. I got 1,000 thoughts about this. So, what I remember you saying about Jonah before, not that he's genuine salt of the earth, what I remember you saying, I'm not disputing that you didn't say those things, is that he's a good kid.
Right.
And I nodded. And the reason why I suspect you said that was he kept checking in on us. You cool? Do you need anything? And you immediately picked up on that because that's the person who's making sure everything's cool. They're attentive, and that's important to you and to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move over to the gentleman on your left. I would like for you to give a more thorough breakdown because I'm about to break them down in a second, but I want
But
the
you know them
stranger.
well, so this is
no,
the real
I can
one.
pretend. I
He's
can
the
pretend.
toughest because I don't know.
He'd like to think he's the toughest. Look at him flexing his arms.
No.
Look at that guy pumping out. Stop peacocking, dude. Relax, will you? Relax those biceps.
There's,
I lost my beach ball.
what could I say about Ricky?
He's dark.
Not knowing.
Yeah.
Right?
But out in the
He's very
sunshine-
tan right now.
Very tan right now.
Honest comes to mind.
What gives that to you from this guy? You're making a lot of assumptions about people you don't know. What's the cue that tells you this dude's honest?
If I am.
Right. I guess just from there's a warmth to him. Maybe I'm the wrong person to be asking.
You're the
because-
perfect person to
Well,
ask.
because I always try to look at the positive. Like I always try to feel the good
Oh,
energy.
you're kind of like my response.
I always like to feel the good energy coming from somebody, and so the way he greeted me when I walked in today,
Okay. Warmth.
warmth,
What did he say?
was very inviting.
He was.
Firm
He was out of the door.
Firm
right?
handshake,
Yeah.
big smile, look me dead in the eyes. That means a lot to me. I've met several people in the past where they shake my hand and they look right through, like past me.
Why?
I think it's an insecurity on their part.
Oh. Okay. You know what that is, though?
Huh.
It's because in the animal kingdom, you don't look at the alpha dog in the eye. That's really what it is. It's deference. So you know when they tell runners, like they're running marathons through neighborhoods, they're like, if you come upon a stray dog, do not look at the dog in the eye. It's
Yes.
a challenge.
Yes.
And so it's a similar thing.
Yes.
So as I come to greet you, if I feel like I'm showing you deference, I will look down. That's why when you discipline your children and they look away, they're actually showing you that you're the power person. And then you say to them in an angry tone, "Look at me in the eye when I'm talking to you." So their active deference to you is challenged on like it makes you even angrier because it looks like they're not paying attention. We need to understand these things too.
I think it's a cultural thing, though.
Partially.
It's an animal
Like
thing.
it's different in different cultures.
Well, that's true too,
Right.
because cultural norms are different.
In the Asian
Let's
community,
talk about the
right?
handshake. You guys know about the handshake?
Well, that,
To have said who has the upper hand. So in Roman times, when they do the handshake, they used to do the handshake like this. Then they went with the modern day handshake, and whoever had their hand on top was in a position of power that determined who's going to eat first, who's going to have their choice of food and women and wine and all those kinds of things. If you were to try to have the upper hand and you're challenging the superior person, you could be killed that day. So that's who has the upper hand. So there's a whole TED talk on this. So there's all these cues. So like when somebody comes to you, looks away from your eye and shakes your hand and gives you the upper hand, they're showing deference to your power. So we need to reinterpret some of these signals over time. So we're taught in Western culture, firm handshake, look at me in the eye, because you're not less than me, and that's a very Western idea.
in New Jersey, if you shake somebody's hand and they don't look at you in the eye, you don't trust them.
Yeah.
You're shifty.
You're shifty.
Yeah,
That's the Western
you're
one.
like signaling 3 other guys to jump you in
Yeah,
the
you're
back.
taught to not
You're
trust that.
thinking something else other than like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a Jersey attitude, because Henry was very scared about, like, when we stay here, somebody would jack our thing. Where's your bag? Where's my bag? Is everything cool? I'm like, there's thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of equipment. That's the last thing they will
And
take.
I was like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he looked at me
He's
like, "Are
like-
you crazy?" This
Henry's
is,
bringing his street smarts to, like, sunny West Side.
yeah, right.
Santa Monica. Yeah. So there's those kinds of things. So he looked in your eye, he greeted you, he was friendly, he was warm.
Yes.
He seemed genuine.
Yes,
Okay. And then you look at this dude over here.
this guy.
And what do you say about him? We're going to turn tables in a second.
All right. So when I see Aaron, I see. All right, you ready?
I'm ready for
Give
that.
it to him, dude.
Give it to me.
Lay it
man.
on him.
Lazy,
Okay. Why?
like the way he sits in his chair.
Right. Like
Right.
slouching.
He
Yeah,
could be that.
okay.
Maybe that's just the way he sits.
Right.
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 He talks slower,
Yes.
so that makes me think he's not as productive.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That's fine.
I could be completely off.
No,
The
yeah.
guy could be the guy could be
Fortune teller.
unmotivated.
Yeah. Keep
Like
going.
not
Keep going.
really motivated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could give or take the day.
Okay.
You know, lets the day.
I like that.
Aaron's King.
Could give or take
the
the day. If he
Yeah.
wanted to sleep till 5 in the afternoon,
Could happen easily.
could totally happen. No big deal. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Right.
Yeah.
But then there's a side of him that's combative. That will test you, and that's because I know him a
Yeah,
little.
yeah, that's 'cause you've seen him on the show.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the
So
show.
that combative nature doesn't come off visually in first glance?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right.
So.
Okay. Let's turn tables. Let's turn tables to Henry. Okay,
Oh,
Henry, now you can't say anything. You can't react. Everybody look at Henry and make some value judgments based on his appearance.
Appearance,
Is this
not by
not
the.
official? Is this good?
No,
Yeah, it is. Don't worry about
I
it,
love this.
guys.
Okay.
Come on. Because Henry also wants to know what is the vibe he's sending out. Take a good look at him, and I'll let, this will be unfair because 3 of you guys can opine at the same time. So jump in there, guys. I won't have one of you at a time.
He seems intense.
Okay?
Loud in
Loud.
most
Look at him.
aspects.
Look at him, guys.
I'm
Look at
looking
him.
We're
He's,
looking
I
at
don't-
him.
he's literally sitting right next to me.
Right, right.
He's been walking around the
I think
office.
You said he's
sophisticated.
loud?
I guess
He's
sophisticated.
loud.
Verbally or visually?
Both.
Well, talk to me about the visual parts.
So he's wearing white shirt, blue pants. I don't see these like blue pants all the time.
Flashy.
He's got loafers on.
Flash.
What's going on there?
Low first? Okay.
Gold watch.
Yeah.
He's got tattoos and short sleeve.
What does that mean?
He likes tattoos. He's not
Well,
like your typical corporate
Let's
guy.
go a little, okay, not corporate. Okay.
He's like kind of anti-establishment.
Yes, he is.
And big personality, likes to people to let people know he's there.
Like, I'm an individual.
Like I'm
Here
in
I
the
am.
room.
I'm in the room. No reaction. Yeah. Go ahead. Jonah, anything?
From appearance, not meeting him.
Yeah, just appearance. We're talking mostly visual appearance, like what energy, visual, because we're talking about personal branding right now, right? We're not talking about crafting the messaging and all that kind of stuff. What can you assume about him? And I'm going to show you guys next level breakdown in 1 second if you guys get through this. And I'll break each and every one of you down. The word break is in there too.
He seems successful.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Moderately at least? Or?
Yeah. What
I
else?
think he's tough.
He's
like
tough.
you're
Tough,
like a
aggressive.
strong guy.
Okay, tough, aggressive, strong. Okay.
Maybe like UFC vibes, like hang out with UFC guys.
Yeah,
or,
yeah, okay.
You're into that.
Okay.
Intense is, I think.
Intense is the big
thing we keep
umbrella.
coming back
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else you guys want to say about him? I'm going to give you the free breakdown of Henry in 1 second, and then I'll break each and every one of you guys down.
What's the opposite of lazy?
Motivated.
Discipline.
Some of that.
Did you like one of
Well
those
kept.
words?
Well,
Both
kept.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he tries. Like, this isn't by accident.
Right, right. And how do you know that?
Very clean, you know.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
he's like everything.
he's
Like,
like
he didn't roll out of bed. Like, I guess this will work. And
Yeah.
It's like this
It's like-
and this.
cleaned
What's
it
going
up.
on today?
right. Okay.
Oh, you guys witnessed the laugh.
Okay.
The
You guys
last game,
good?
I don't
I think
know.
that's we.
Okay.
got it, yeah.
I'm going to give everybody that's watching YouTube. I do want to say this, you guys. If you've noticed, the last live stream we did has disappeared. It's gone. We're done. You won't see that live stream anymore. So I want to let you guys know these live streams will last at most 1 week. We're going to take them down. So tune in, watch it, tell your friends, watch it again, get what you want. But they'll disappear and we'll do cut downs because we're not trying to force you guys to watch a 4-hour marathon stream with us. We're just having conversations here, okay? Now, let's do this. I want to teach you guys how to systematically break every single thing down. And it requires you to see. You don't know what you can't see, and so we need to learn to see. Let's start from top to bottom. Henry is a really clean-shaven guy, so that says something about him. So that takes effort. That's how you know. You also notice how groomed his eyebrows are, so he's a pretty hairy
Did
dude.
notice that, yeah.
So, but we should say that because you weren't looking at him. I mean,
Well, that angle doesn't
your
do that
evaluation
much.
of him was like over there. It's like, what are you looking at, Ricky? He's right there next to you.
want to be like, what's up?
Why not? Why
You wanna
not?
get in the grill.
If I ask you to study and break something down, you got to look at it. Don't base it on memory.
It's, you know, it's like
No, this is the task at hand. So look at him. His eyebrows are groomed. It's telling me something, right? Because they're shaped and I'm not even getting down past the chin yet. And this is what it's telling me. This guy cares, and he's a well manicured person. It's
Just
just
the neck
all
up gives you that.
just the neck, just from the neck up. This is what it's telling me. Because look, he's not stubbly. Look at you and you. You're like all shaggy all over the place.
yeah.
There's a different vibe, and that says something different. Now look at him. For some of us, it might be chilly, and he's wearing a short sleeve shirt because for him, maybe where he comes from, it's colder than this. And you can tell people from other colder climates are in shorts and t-shirt when I'm like shivering in my parka. You guys see that? Because I've got that East Asian blood in me. Let's move down, right? So he's wearing a blue print shirt. Prints are hard to wear. A man needs to know what prints look good on him that isn't too loud and isn't kind of weird and too feminine. So that means he has to pick a certain shirt. Notice the notched sleeve. So this isn't just a regular shirt. And Henry's frame and size says that he must either have his shirt tailored or know of a certain brand that fits him, because it's not easy to have that chest size to that torso. Okay, we'll talk about that later. You notice he's wearing beads on the thing, and he's got a little bracelet that says, what is it, remember?
Remember why you started.
Remember why you started. So that's like a guy who's about motivation, about always staying focused, okay? He's got a gold watch, a little bling, says I'm successful and I'm a little flashy. He's also married because he's got the ring on. We should notice that. He's wearing pretty normal pants, but they're also higher cut. So he's also kind of in tune with fashion. He also knows what looks good on a person of his size, right? So if you have a shorter body frame, you wear the higher hemline and it makes you look taller.
Is that right?
It is right,
Sure, people
100%.
have to wear
GQ
Spot on.
magazine.
Yes. Spot
GQ,
on.
issue number 44. No, just kidding. Right? And he's wearing his loafers. I don't know what brand they are. They look like they're Gucci. I don't know. So that is also, just by itself, is like a little statement piece. So all of it together with his full sleeve and the certain kind of design he's got going, the symmetry, the floral nature, is the balance between, I think I'm tough, but I'm also kind of in touch with the feminine part to me, and that's totally okay. He looks like, for the most part, a guy who's very comfortable in his own skin. Also notice he's not wearing socks. That's also a style move on his part. But I don't think you're supposed to wear those shoes with socks on. That would be a fashion faux pas. Then we say, this dude does not know what he's doing. And then if you were to look him up on Instagram, you will see this image that he's putting out is highly curated, very consistent across almost all of his posts. Hence, Pitbull, Mr. International Worldwide. Okay, all right.
Spot.
That's how you do a breakdown. So what we want to do is, if we're going to work in the visual space, we need to learn to train our eyes to pick these things up. Now, I could have done this from a mile away.
Right.
Over time, you
Right.
start to focus in on this. So you guys have heard me say this before, and this is a line from Dune, which is from the book, The Sleeper. Paul Atreides' dad tells him and whispers to him all the time, the sleeper must awaken. The sleeper must awaken. What it's saying, like, you're sleepwalking through life. There's things around you that are happening, and you're not paying attention, and so you're not learning from those experiences, okay? Now, I'll do the breakdown of Jonah, and I think I'm done with the breakdowns, okay? And those of you guys that are watching, that are listening to this, how did I do? Was it fair? Is it too critical?
No, people
Am I
said it
too
was on
insane
point.
in the membrane? Insane in the brain.
I want to just note that you didn't really make a lot of value judgments about him, like that
I try
he's a
not
bro
to.
or he's a UFC fighter guy.
We don't know
you
that.
Kind of just stuck with what you're seeing.
I try not to
You
extrapolate
didn't
too
go
much.
too far, yeah.
Yeah, because most times those are wrong.
As opposed to what I did. Lazy.
Yeah,
That's
right,
fine.
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's a lot of judgment,
Right.
right?
Right.
But these are signals that you're sending to the world, and I don't think Henry's alone by assuming certain things like that, and that's okay. And if you're comfortable with who you are, you're like, whatever. I know what I am. It's all fine. Now look at Jonah, and to the observation that Henry made before, he's like, everybody here seems really genuine, and they seem to be stylish in a way. So let's look at this. You can make an assumption about walking into this office and seeing everybody that works here is there is no dress code. Everybody here is super casual. They're probably dressed for a little bit of style and mostly out of function. So these three guys that happen to be here with me at night are more than half of the cinematography editing team. So there's a good chance if they're wearing white shirts or fine clothes, it's going to get dirty and it's not going to work. Or you might see pit stains and things you don't want to see. So they're dressed to try to have a certain personal style, but they're not going to be overly complicated. Now, some of them have no sense of style, and that's totally okay. That becomes their own style. T-shirt and jeans. I don't know who that would be. You know, pretty much everybody here. You know, man.
Good stuff.
You looking at me?
Real good.
Right? So I see Jonah. Look at Jonah. Of the three of us, he and I are tied for who's wearing the most heat. You know, or maybe Aaron. The three of us must be really cold. So then you can make an assumption about this guy that he doesn't like cold weather. Look how like bundled up this dude is with the gray sweatshirt. And okay, so as long as it fits his body, that's fine. And he's making a very kind of gap utilitarian. I'm here for work. I'm not here to like flex. Mostly that's what he is. He's clean cut. He just cut his hair for whatever reason. So
It was long.
It was long. And he's wearing like retro Nikes that happen to be brand new with a gum-soled bottom. So that's saying something about him too. Probably not super athletic, but you know, it's casual. Right? Because why?
Every stream so far you've hit on this guy.
Well, no, put your shoes back on. Put your shoes back on. Put them up in the air, Jonah.
What?
Cross your legs again. Look at him right there. So those shoes have been barely touched by dirt. They've not hit. You don't see clay caked on the bottom. You know, this guy's shoes barely gonna make it out to you. Ooh, I wouldn't do that, Ricky. Some brain cells just died right there. You know what I mean? Right? So you can see each and every single person, what you dress, the energy that you put in. So these guys are not using a lot of their brain power working on their wardrobe. They're using really basic staples because they want to spend little to no time. One could say some of them even woke up this way yesterday. One could say. Who knows? I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but you know what I'm saying? All right, that's the breakdown. Now, to be fair to the internet, and we probably need to go to dinner pretty soon.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I'm thinking about where we're going to eat now that I'm hungry. You know, thinking makes my body hungry, right? I'm going to give you guys a shot now. You throw back, and you could do one person or anybody. You can say, what does the visual appearance say to you, and how do you want to interpret that?
About other people?
No, about me.
Oh,
I was going through and do my thing on you guys.
Well, I feel like it's tough to do that because we know you so well.
That's right. So just talk visually.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
Henry.
I would say-
I guess everybody
We're
has.
practicing.
I would say there's a sense of style. So appearance means something to him.
He has a snapback. He has gauges. He has
Right.
blue frame glasses.
Right.
Those are not indicative of people his age.
Go easy on the for his. You're like, Grandpa, no.
I don't
That's
know.
fine.
man.
That's fine.
My-
This is fireside style, so don't worry about it. It's all good.
Is that wrong?
Are
No,
you
no,
saying
it's all
those are
good.
the
I like
glasses like of a younger person?
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
wear? Okay.
Gauges, the snapback hat. It's got all black everything. It all matches.
Hmm.
He's got the same-
Again, clean
Yeah.
cut. So that means something to him.
Yep.
I like what the people on live chat are saying about me right now. They're playing the game too.
Oh, okay.
We're all playing the game, so
Oh,
you guys
God.
go and throw out whatever you want.
That's what I got. Anybody else? Jonah.
So if you guys want to, if you guys really want to be a good designer, a good creative human being, you need to have empathy. You need to learn how to feel what other people feel. You have to be able to imagine what it's like to be a 12-year-old girl who's trying to be a pop singer. You need to know what an 85-year-old African American who's trying to reconnect with his grandson or something. You need to know what a Samoan. So when we say like you look and you observe and you feel and you make assumptions, the more that you can connect those dots, the greater detail that you can pull out, it helps you in that game. You three in particular want to tell stories. You want to be a great storyteller. Well, if the only story you can tell is your story, you're kind of a boring storyteller, right? Notice some directors, everything they make is exactly who they are. Wes Anderson, he has a very particular viewpoint in the world. And so that's his viewpoint, right? Mm-hmm. Some directors, like some actors, are chameleons. Like, really? You did that film? I'll give you an example. Do you know the director who directed Happy Feet is the same one that directed all of the Road Warrior series, Mad Max? How could that person do that? Happy Feet to Road Warrior. Can you believe that? It's the same director. So this person has a different point of view in the world. From CG animated dancing penguins to people cutting people off, killing people in the desert. See the breadth there? So if you can learn to do this, it's a skill, and you can apply this to design. When we walk around, we look at architecture. My son and I, when we travel, we're like, look at the materials, look at the finish, look how they transition. Because once you start to build, you start to study how things finish connect to other materials. How do they end the tile? What did they do here in this piece when they don't have something? So you got to pay attention. Okay. So anybody else want to throw a guess, and then we're done.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm looking at your black sweater,
Yes, this one.
but like, what can I conclude from that?
Oh, I can tell you. Okay.
Simplicity.
First, look at it and understand what it looks like, and what kind of assumptions can you make. There is something here.
It's got a weird
The
zipper
collar
design.
thing.
The
Yeah,
collar's a
right.
little
It's like a
weird.
weird
What does it
kinda-
look like? Anything in particular? Does it remind you? This is the game where it reminds me of. It's okay. Logos,
Okay.
we don't want to do that. It reminds me of something.
It's brandless, so there's no type or anything on it.
I feel like it's got like a military. James
Military.
Bond sort of
It's
thing.
full on military inspired.
Yeah.
And so there's a vibe that's being thrown off. Like, I don't want to just wear a ribbed sweater. It's got to have some kind of flourish. Like, Henry doesn't want to wear a shoe that's just a normal shoe. He's got to have a leather band or a certain print or cut a certain way, or it's a square front. And it says something.
Versus like a Jonah sweater, it's got.
Jonah's like no
most-
personality.
Yeah.
Zero personality sweater. Because he wants to make it about the work. And he
Right.
doesn't want to think.
Right.
So
Right.
the minute
That's
you
what it
have a color, a print, a zipper on that thing, right? It requires now, does this go with this? It requires some thinking.
So you know that he thought about that today at some point.
Jonah?
No, he's saying the opposite.
I'm saying the opposite.
But if you're saying like if a guy has a print shirt on,
Yes.
you know that he thought about that.
He put 2 thoughts into that, at
Yeah, I
least,
think Ricky,
at
you
minimum.
said it best. He was like, he went with that, with that, with that, with that, with that.
It has to
And it
work,
was all pre-programmed.
Not my mistake.
right?
No.
Because he's got like 4 shades of blue on that with a little earth tone brown. and that brings it together.
Oh, and the shoe
And
with the
you
pants
see
with
what I'm
the
saying?
shirt.
So he came out here from Jersey. He's not going to bring a giant wardrobe. So he needs to know how many different outfits can I pull off with the minimum amount of space.
Yep.
And that's what you do. Right? So this little military-esque detail is what attracts me to this particular brand, because they like to add classic clothing and cuts and they bring in a little weird funkiness to it. They'll have an arbitrary button because it's that detailing, that tailoring, that bespoke quality that I'm drawn to. That's what you're saying. Plus, I like military things. It looks cool and official looking, even though I'm afraid of guns. So it's just a look.
I noticed you rolled up your pants there.
I didn't. This is how they came.
Oh, that's how they came.
Yeah,
so
they're
3/4 like that.
Huh?
They're like a 3/4.
No, not quite. They're like not the capri cut, but they're high. They're high cut. You know.
What would I deduce from that? You expecting it to rain soon?
See, Aaron, that was a long setup. That was a long setup.
He saved that one for the end.
How long did you work on
Save
that,
that one
Aaron?
for the end.
All live stream, he's been working on that.
God.
Obviously, you don't know anything about style, so the stylish men in the room will separate from the boys in the room with this one. Do you notice in fashion shoots, they always do a high cut? It's because they want to show a little bit of the detail. It's mostly because I think men want to show off the socks or shoes they're wearing, so they bring it up. And that little bit says, I'm paying attention to my fashion. Because here's the problem with a high hem. It will go in and it will go out. So Henry and I are both. Anytime you make any kind of fashion decision, eventually this will not be something we can wear.
Then it'll be retro.
Nah, it just would be like, part of like fashion is to know that you're kind of keeping in
With the
what's
trends.
going on.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So you cycle things in and out, right? So you buy some kind of staple, a sweatshirt and khakis, you're already kind of a vibe from 50 years ago and you're fine. It's not swinging.
Timeless, yeah.
That's why people like Steve Jobs, like turtleneck, jeans, didn't have to think, this works, or it does. He's not gonna buy into it. He doesn't want to spend any time thinking about it whatsoever.
That's what Zuckerberg did.
Yeah, that's what,
he's a
I think
football.
Albert Einstein is the one who started this.
Yeah.
Same clothing, always repeat.
I think Zuckerberg said he wants to make the least amount of decisions in a day.
Who does?
Zuckerberg.
Okay.
And so by not having to make a decision on wardrobe, he's freeing his mind to make more important ones later.
Yeah.
I also heard that you'll see a lot of multimillionaires and billionaires wear the same shirt. They'll have it in 50 different colors, but it's the same shirt because of confidence. They don't want to hinder their confidence in any way, specifically wearing something that they might not be comfortable in. So they will buy, you'll look at their wardrobe, it's the same shirt. Or they'll have black may be their color. Everything in their wardrobe is all black. And it's the same type of shirt, same type of sweaters, because they don't want to hinder their confidence whatsoever, because that confidence closes deals. And they will not compromise that.
So I have a slightly different theory. My theory is most men don't know how to dress.
Wow.
Let me restate. Most heterosexual men do not know how to dress at all. And just because you have money doesn't mean you have style. And you can see this like when you look at people who became famous and rich, that all of a sudden they became super stylish. It's because literally they have a stylist telling them what to wear. And if you don't know what to do, because you're good at acting doesn't mean you have any kind of style or sensibility at all. And then what they do is they homogenize their entire wardrobe so they don't have to think. So somebody shops for them. And this is true about men too. Men find a shirt or a pant that fits, that works well with their body type, and they buy 14 different colors of it because that's how they shop.
That's true.
It's very different because anything else requires some thought, okay? But if you want to be fashionable, if you don't want to wear a uniform, then it requires some thinking, right? It means, let me ask you guys this question, except for Henry today, in normal life, Henry. How many times do you have to try an outfit before you walk out the door? Jonah?
An outfit?
Yeah. Like what you put on today.
I think like 4 times.
4 times. Henry?
Once.
Once.
Once. Wait.
Once.
You?
Shh, don't judge him.
No, I'm gonna ask a clarifying question.
Hold on. 4 times. He already said it. It was very clear. He didn't
He tried
stutter.
on 4 other outfits before.
Yes,
this
he
one.
did.
Okay.
Just
What the other 3 look like?
he had the white sweatshirt, the black sweatshirt. Come on, guys. Easy there. Don't attack him.
Just one.
One. It's like, and then for me, probably sometimes between 3 and 6 times.
So a whole outfit. You look in the mirror and you're like, no.
Yeah. The whole outfit.
Dude, I rarely buy pants. So whenever I buy them, I have to make sure they look good.
No.
Oh,
This
before he
morning.
buys
No. Oh, sorry.
Alright.
Okay. No, this morning,
Yeah.
when you
Oh,
put on your
I don't even
outfit.
look.
That's
Oh,
my
he
point.
doesn't even look.
He doesn't look.
Okay.
So one time.
Yeah.
So 1. All of you guys are 1 but me.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that does it 3 to 6 times.
That's interesting. What? So
Yeah.
you wear the outfit and you're like, what about it makes you
Okay,
not want to wear it?
we're gonna end
I'm
the
so
stream
confused.
on this.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. I guess I didn't ask the question very clearly. So everybody here dresses once and they're out the door. Okay, fantastic.
99%
Here's
of the time.
well, I don't. Don knows to speak. You've seen the wardrobe. It's t-shirt and pants. It's
Sometimes,
t-shirt and
yeah,
pants.
you-
And sometimes no pants.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
Sometimes you wear a shirt and you're like, no.
That's the one time you have to
Forgot
switch.
that.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I'll tell you, this is full truth. Fashion. Let's talk about it. So, when I'm in the shower, I'm thinking about what I want to wear because I don't want to spend a lot of time. So I'm going through my wardrobe, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I have lots of shirts and pants. I probably have more pants than you have clothing. So that's where it gets a little complicated. Okay. And then I put it together in my mind, like, what's my vibe? What's my mood? What am I going to do on camera today? So I'm thinking about that. And I'm very deliberate. So we have a certain guest. I want to match and mirror. Okay? So you saw when Seth Godin came on, I didn't wear a hat. I wore a brightly colored tie because that's typically what he does. You know, he's not what I would consider a fashion icon, but he does enough to say, like, I care. Brightly colored glasses and a bright tie says, you know what? I'm not dead yet. I still got some funk in me, and I get that. So I'll match and mirror. Draplin came on, jean jacket, whatever. I'm gonna throw similar vibes. So we don't feel like we're talking in 2 universes. When you cut next to each other, it's not a game of spy versus spy. Mm-hmm. So I think about those things. Now for me, I have a couple of considerations to think about. What color socks and print am I using? What of one of 25 hats am I going to wear? And how does that work from top to bottom? And it's a matrix of shirts and pants, inside and outside, layering, scarves, no scarf, whatever it is. And so the variables are there. Like, what kind of wrist jewelry am I going to wear? Am I going to wear a neck chain or not? It's like, these all kind of work. Here's where I mess up. I put on a pant and a shirt. I know that pant is difficult to work with other things. But I keep working with that pant, and I switch out shirts until I give up on the pant. And once I change the pant, I'm good again. So some pants are harder to wear with others. Some loud print shirts are very difficult to wear. So I have a couple like floral print shirts that are like, it's very loud, and I don't want to be that loud. So then I have to rein it back in. And here's the other thing I do. When I'm flipping through GQ magazine, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting combination I never thought about before. I didn't realize that that green vest would work with those yellow pants, and that's very interesting. Then you think, let me try that. I go out, I buy that, not that exact thing, but I buy that color combination of that some kind of vibe, and then I put it on. Guess what? It don't work. My skin type, my body, my build isn't a supermodel athlete. So I got to work with what I got. And so then, typically, if I don't feel like I know, I just feel like, and you know what's wrong. I'm like, honey, how do I look? And she's like, change it. I'm like, changing right now. That's how you know.
Done.
Okay, now if you guys enjoyed this segment of us just freestyling, talking about wardrobe, the next time I do a workshop and you're in attendance in my workshop or my talk, you just raise your hand and like, Chris, pick me. I want you to tell me what I look like and what kind of assumptions, and we'll do it as part of a personal branding thing. Because people were saying in the comments, do it on me, do me.
Everyone wants to know.
I will do that.
what
People
other
like to
people
know
think of
this.
them. Yeah.
And when we were in the UK, you remember, we did this. We asked somebody from the audience to come up, and we picked them apart. And they're like, that's pretty accurate. And then she sat back down. So we do this. It's because we want to know what message are we sending to the world. And if it's off, we might want to change that if we're looking for that kind of feedback. That's all it is. Okay? All right. I think it's time to get out of here. I'm hungry. I'm sure you guys are starving. Thanks for hanging in with us on another fireside chat. I think we need another name because it's not really a fireside chat.
Warm chat.
Warm chat.
Come on, guys.
You know,
Lukewarm chat.
calories, you know, turned it up a
It's a
little
little
bit.
We'll
warm.
work on it.
Okay. All right.
We'll do a
I think that's it, and we will see you guys next time. Probably next time we do this, I think there's some hot topics we all need to hammer out, the three of us. Somebody was wondering where the women at. We're working on that. It's just after hours. You guys seem to hang out after hours. This is how we do it. I think that's a more appropriate title for this is after hours.
Yeah.
Something like
After
that.
hours.
That's really what we're doing.
Well, we started at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we started.
Theoretically,
Yeah,
it's all after hours.
that's true.
We did not really start at 5:30.
That's true.
So, okay.
Okay, Jonah,
Thanks
take it
everybody
out
for
there.
tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Be well, everybody. Let's go have dinner.
That's it.
All right. What do you feel like having? Matthias, let's get out of here.
I'm good. I mean, I don't know.